Hey there! In part 1 of this series, I started researching how to find places where one could record ambience without so much as a trace of noise pollution from civilization, and this is actually quite a bit harder than it sounds. Despite the USA being an immense body of breathtaking and natural land, one actually cannot get more than 20 miles from a road inside the continental United States, and obviously, if one wants to avoid human noise, they must go to places where humans will not or cannot easily get to. People don't seem to like swamps very much. They're the typical setting of a spooky story or horror movie, or even worse, they're used as the antagonist in an overused and trite and oddly unspecific political metaphor. They're also difficult to build roads or buildings on. To be fair, swamps are also known for being super unpleasant and dangerous, and all of these factors would mean that they're not that likely to have much human noise pollution at all. And as luck would have it, 6 hours away from me is the largest swamp on the entire continent. The Okefenokee swamp is really big, deceptively big. It's 684 square miles big. That's like 2 New York cities stacked on top of each other with the Seattle on top of them. The only way to get around is by small boat, and depending on the conditions, getting from one side to the other can take up to 4 days. In this particular swamp, one will be sharing a habitat with a variety of poisonous snakes, bears, panthers, and 47 species of mosquito. Oh, and there are over 30,000 alligators. I actually did the math, and that means that there's likely to be 1 alligator per the area size of an average 2-bedroom apartment. Also, the swamp obviously extends way out of cell phone range, and seeing that I had absolutely no boating experience, I planned on learning a bit and working up to this trip. But there was one problem. In just a few weeks from now, brood 10, the world's largest brood of cicadas, will have emerged for the first time in 17 years, and each one's love song can produce 120 decibels of sound, and there will be nearly 1 trillion of them. In other words, very soon, nobody is going to be recording anything outdoors in the eastern United States except for cicadas. So on the north side of the refuge, which is mostly in Georgia, there is another state park and wildlife management area that has a service road that comes down here to a service tower, which makes me believe that either Craven's Hammock or a place called Dinner Pond, both which are only accessible by boat. This is pretty inaccessible, and I believe that it is quite possible that one of these two places may have the lowest amount of human noise pollution on the east side of the United States. So I just picked a week to go in early April, and in the meantime learned as much as I could about swamps and boats and alligators. And I had to do quite a bit of map studying, and even then, it was pretty unclear what kind of boat could safely go to which parts of the swamp. I also needed special permits to be able to go to the most remote parts of the swamp, and I needed more permits to be able to film them. I always want to talk up and glorify wildlife areas and state parks, but the bureaucracy and lack of organization with this particular one kind of made me feel like they didn't want visitors at all. And my frustration was getting exasperated by my nervousness over planning this trip safely, and I just gave up. I didn't cancel the trip, I just gave up on trying to figure out what kind of boat I'd have or what kind of boat was dangerous to bring into certain areas. I just packed a smaller bag that I could fit with me in a kayak or canoe if required, and fit that into a much larger waterproof sack in case I got a bigger boat or was able to store more stuff. As for the recorder, well, it's like last time, I'll be using the Zoom H8 with the XY-H6 stereo mic that allows me to adjust from 120 degrees to 90 degrees. A lot of people are really particular about what field recorder they use. I like the Zooms. I didn't like them in the H4 era or the H2 era, but I don't know what they did, but they changed something to where the noise floor went way down on the H6 and the H8. All right, it's early. Let's go to the swamp. I really want to get down there before it gets dark because I still don't really know what I'm going to be dealing with. I gotta learn the swamp rules. There's swamp laws, there's swamp penal code, there's swamp magistrate court for small swamp claims. Then you got swamp owners associations with all of their ridiculous rules.
Lakes, marshes, islands, and forests. Okefenokee is situated in the southeastern United States. Its 177,000 hectares cover the southeastern corner of Georgia and a small portion of northern Florida. The swamp is a large landlocked basin filled with rainwater. It is drained by the Suwannee River, which empties into the Gulf of Mexico. and by the North Fork of the smaller St. Mary's River, which flows into the Atlantic.
Oh, there's the cutest little gator down there. This motor's not the best in the world. We're having some problems. When we think of a swamp, we think of this gross, muddy place, just like the last place you would ever want to be in. And while it's definitely not hospitable, everything dangerous here seems really calm, except for the sun. The sun doesn't seem calm. I'm looking at a snake dancing just under the water over there, and then I'm looking at 2 gators here, 1 here. I'm absolutely surrounded by these terrifying things that could kill me, but none of them seem to want to kill me. They're just curious of why there's a boat in the swamp. Oh, it's so hot. I could probably cook food on this surface. No joking. We need to find a shadier spot if I'm gonna troubleshoot this engine. Now that I'm doing this, I almost wish that I brought a canoe. I feel like I'm trying to row a motorboat in a swamp right now. Oh, hey, gator. Come on, man. Okay, this is shady at least. Might as well do what I came for. It is really nice. It's really quiet. Was really quiet. Oh man, this log. Just walk with these. The radio's not working. I'm gonna try and get over this log and give this boat one more try. And then, well, I don't really have any other options. Check the spark plug in the oil. I don't have enough tools to open up the carb. I don't know. Swamp magic. Some gas in there. Oh! Oh, the shade is so nice. The breeze. Oh my God. The swamp water here appears so strangely black, but it's actually almost blood red. I'm gonna put my hand in really fast. And that's from the tannins and acids. Fortunately, the lack of noise pollution here is also accompanied by a lack of light pollution. One of the other reasons I chose this particular time to visit the Okefenokee swamp is because it was during a new moon. This meant that with a little bit of luck with the weather, I would be able to view and photograph the Milky Way in one of the top 10 locations in the country for astronomy observation. While the sky was nothing short of glorious, I wouldn't describe the experience as peaceful. So it's like well after midnight right now, and I'm trying to do some astrophotography, but I think the noise and maybe even just the dim light from the camera is attracting this gator down the swamp, and they have the creepiest red eyes at night, and every time I flash my light over there, he's like a little bit closer. Just go away, man. Oh, dude, there's one like right here too. Oh, there is. I mean, I'm recording the sound of a chorus of gators all around me. So they're clearly already all around me. Just because I see two of them, I mean, it's still scary. Just forget about the stalking gators and stay still and record the amazing sky. I don't know if you've noticed, but these videos never have a wrap-up segment where I return to civilization. And the reason for that is pretty simple. I always run out of batteries before I return to civilization. I want to thank Audible for making this possible. As you may know from past videos, I don't ever do sponsorships with services that I don't actually use myself. And as you might guess, having toured for 2 decades primarily by land, I've been an Audible member for most of that time. Audiobooks allow me to research things that later end up on this channel while simultaneously doing things like driving to and from a giant swamp. And if you want more casual entertainment, Audible's Plus catalog has really well-produced exclusive podcasts, guided fitness and meditation programs, and of course, unlimited access to lots and lots of audiobooks. One of the ways I actually stayed sane on this trip was by listening to one of my absolute favorites, The Elephant Vanishes, which is a collection of short stories written by Haruki Murakami. Murakami's writing has a way of making me laugh to the point where I have tears rolling down my cheeks without ever telling a joke. His novels and short stories in audiobook format are a great and easy way to get to know his surrealistic style that earned him the accolade of being considered one of the century's best authors. And you can do it for free. If you go to audible.com/Ben or text Ben to 500-500, you'll activate a coupon for a free month. Oh yeah, and of course, those field recordings that I went all the way to the middle of a swamp to get, those will be available on my Patreon, where you can also support this channel and my work directly. My Patreon has everything from audio production samples to assets to the music you hear in the background of these videos. It has exclusive game servers, a Discord server, exclusive discount codes from hardware and software companies. It's an awesome community. Join us. So where should I go next? What kind of ambience do you want to hear? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you learned anything or if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Bye.